Monster Hunter returns with its latest installment of Rise. After the significant milestone that was Monster Hunter World, Capcom decided to go smaller with the game on the Nintendo Switch. While World was extensive and grandiose, Rise is a bit more self-contained. Taking place in Kamura Village, you play a hunter who has been thrust into the position of saving the village from the rampage. A rampage is an event that occurs every 50 years and causes the monsters in the surrounding area to attack the village en masse. The whole scenario takes inspiration from the Japanese myth Night Parade of 100 Demons. With new features, techniques, and equipment, it is up to you, your Palico, and Palamute to discover the cause of the rampage and put an end to it once and for all. This is Monster Hunter Rise. The story takes inspiration from the previously stated Japanese myth. You, the hunter in question, have to embark on quests to slay monsters, using materials to forge weapons and armor, and discover what is making these monsters act crazy. The story has 3 sections of gameplay: Village Quests, Guild Quests, and Rampage Quests. Village Quests and Guild Quests are practically the same, except that Guild Quests are a little bit harder and meant for online play. And Rampage Quests are part of the Rampage event where a horde of monsters will come at you and you and optionally other hunters have to fight them off with ballistas, cannons, machine guns, and so on. To get to the end of the story, you have to complete all 3 sections, and the Rampage and Guild Quests have 2 bosses that we'll discuss later in the review. And while the story's not as bare bones as I thought it would be, it actually surprised me with the twists, mystery with certain characters, and the way the developers made you care about each person in the village, whether it be through their interactions or the side quests they give you. And while the story is a major part of the overall game, I believe that the developers put a bit more focus on gameplay. Despite being on a system with inferior hardware compared to its peers, Monster Hunter Rise and the RE engine pushed the Nintendo Switch to its limit with beautiful cutscenes, animations, and environments. Each monster in this game is expressive and unique, and while some monsters may have the same body type and might have similar actions, each one of them applies those actions in a different way. For example, Rathalos and Rathian are both gender-swap versions of one another. Both breathe fire and can poison the player. However, Rathalos stays in the skies and has poison in his talons, while Rathian stays on the ground and has poison in her tail. Little things such as these keep every hunt a joy to come back to again and again, not knowing what to expect from the next monster. And while I have not experienced any technical issues, I have seen some videos where some monsters will glitch out or get buggy. Which brings me to my next point. While Rise is a great game, it is not perfect. As stated before, I have seen some videos of monsters glitching out or freezing. This is a problem with all video games, unfortunately, and I do hope that the developers do their best to fix these bugs so that they don't interfere with future players' experiences. There is also a feature in the game where you try to switch to an item, you might use your most recent item. For example, if you try to use a whetstone to sharpen your weapons, you might just drink a potion by mistake, and I would recommend using the shortcuts provided by the UI to get past this little quirk. The music in this game is top notch. Each monster has a different track, with the exception of one, that keeps the heart pumping. That being said, the main village quest can get tiresome after a while. Hearing the same song over and over and over can just make you want to roll your eyes and get to the next quest as quickly as possible. And lastly, I have to talk about the melting pot. In World, you would craft charms with the materials that you gain from hunts. In Rise, you use the materials to randomly generate charms with certain percent chance of getting the skills that you desire. While I'm not an enthusiast of this system, and would much rather just grind for the materials rather than hope on random number generators to get the skill as desired, no one is forcing me to use the system, so I'll stick to using decorations and the charms provided throughout the story. Speaking of which, so after completing a certain amount of village quests, you come face to face with Magnamalo, a fanged wyvern linked to the rampage. As the story progresses, you learn that Magnamalo only comes around during the rampage to feast on dead monsters. After slaying the beast, you still have no clue what is causing the rampage. That is until you complete a certain amount of guild quests, and you're offered a rampage quest where your target is the wind serpent Ibushi, a flying elder dragon that can cause hurricane winds and major collateral damage. This elder dragon has been searching for his queen throughout the story, and it's suggested that he and his queens are the ones causing the rampage. While you do not defeat Ibushi, you do repel him for the time being. Then, you will be tasked with hunting his queen, the thunder serpent Nara, and she's an exciting fight to say the least. With complete control over thunder and magnetism, she is one of the most dangerous creatures in the Monster Hunter world. You don't even defeat her, you only put her in a hole in the ground and her body isn't even found. And during the celebration with the village, a cliffhanger implies that she and her king have only been buying time for their offspring to be born. While I initially had my doubts about a Monster Hunter game on the Switch being just as good as World, Monster Hunter Rise came in and surprised me to the moon and back. While not as big as World, it is just as mighty, with new features, new monsters, and weapon systems that go as deep as icebergs. Rise knows how to keep its players engaged and on their seats for the next hunt. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on Monster Hunter Rise. What do you guys think? Is it a great game? Is it a game just for kids? Is it subpar compared to World? Let me know, and we can discuss it in the comments. Thank you, God bless, have a good day, and stay safe out there, please.